That's it. And, keep it in motion.
Copy, we see the release and deployment.
Second bolt release, IROSA now deploying. We're going to see, and again, there's no mechanism to make this unfurl. It's doing it all with the stored energy of the array itself. And the white sections you see on either side, so those are the booms, those are going to unfurl and tend to curl up, similar to, as we were talking about, if you were to take a straw, cut it lengthwise, roll it up, and then just let it go, it would naturally just try to curve back into that circular structure. And that's what those booms are going to be doing. There's a series of magnets the crew's also going to be keeping an eye on.
Body back about 3 or 4 degrees to help our view.
Okay.
That's much better, thank you. A little bit further would be even perfect.
Okay.
And Frank, we can just barely make out those magnets. I think all 5 of them have clicked closed at this point.
I've got 4 and there are 5. All 5 are clicked.
Okay, copy. Thank you.
Good job, Josh. Nicely done. Finally run that microwave we've been wanting to run. Nick, do you know where we are over the planet?
Yeah, you're just south of Alaska, getting ready to go do a pass down the west coast.
Awesome. Florida.
You might even be over Houston by the time the deployment finishes.
That's pretty cool.
So the array continuing to unfurl. The view that Josh Cassett is getting right now as it unfurls away from him after he released those 2 launch restraint bolts.
You can see air traffic. Sure. Yeah, there's a contrail. There. Yeah, I see it.
And that view from Frank Rubio's, if you look at the booms on the side, you can see they kind of curl up after they continue to deploy. This is a look at the very far end. You can see all of the solar cells in the middle there, and those booms as they continue to stretch out. They essentially snap together into that circular structure, and then they have magnets that are help them maintain that structure once they snap in.
And Frank, Josh, while we hold position and wait for the deployment to finish, just kind of give you a heads up on the way forward, at least near-term steps. We've got the tensioner bolts that we're going to do, and then we'll move into kind of cleaning up the scoop and the cable bag, and then we'll focus on trying to get the arm clean and FSC in a good config.
Okay, sounds great. Copy that.
We're continuing to watch as these unfurl. Again, as you can see, they're covering up some of the solar cells on the existing arrays, which are still tied in to the power channel. But these new ones coming in with a higher efficiency, obviously brand new, so haven't lost any of that efficiency that you lose over time and being exposed to that harsh environment of space. We're going to be able to increase our actual power output. So we're aiming to have 6 of these total eventually deployed on the International Space Station, this rollout solar array technology. We did an initial test of this type of array several years ago on the space station, just to see how the mechanisms worked, how the power generation worked, and then ultimately culminating in some permanent additions to the station. This same type of rollout solar array technology used on the NASA DART mission, which was our asteroid redirect.
It's that storm. Yeah, it's crazy how big it is. Affecting the entire country.
And we are passing.
Coming up on the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
Just about to pass over the Pacific Northwest, and as any of our viewers in America are aware, there's some pretty significant winter weather hitting a lot of the country, so our crew members getting a view from about 260 statute miles above. While this rollout solar array almost done deploying, we'll note the same type of solar array, this rollout technology, going to be used on NASA's Gateway station around the moon as well. That's going to be our launching point for the Artemis program and future lunar landings, eventually establishing that sustainable lunar presence on the moon. So our crew members continuing to stand by, observing the rollout after this deployment sequence is complete. We'll have a couple of final steps. For Josh Cassada, he's going to have 2 blanket tensioner bolts that he is going to release. These essentially activate a spring that it's going to pull on some internal wire to the solar array itself to add some tension, which will be necessary as we're maneuvering and gimbaling the solar arrays, as we always try to point them to track the sun.
Look at the mountain. Also all right? Yeah, it's coming right meter right now. Between, I don't know if you can see between the 2 solar arrays. Wow. That is a lot of snow. I think it's Sierra Nevada, I'm guessing.
Okay, guys, we have confirmed we've got a good deployment on IROSA. So, Josh, you're go to move into position to do the tensioner bolts R11 and 12.
Copy that.
And for both of you, I've got a handover in 15 seconds.
Copy that.
And just a short handover, we'll get that video signal back as the crew now stepping into some of the final steps of the day, as they're going to work to now release 2 blanket tensioner bolts. Josh Cassada using his pistol grip tool to make that happen. Those are going to trigger some springs that are going to pull on some tensioning wire in the arrays to add some structural rigidity to this now fully deployed solar array. After that, we'll get into some worksite cleanup, likely get another glove hab and gauntlet check, just to walk through those again. So crew members obviously using their hands for everything on a spacewalk, not actually using their feet.
Voice waiting for video to lock up.
That's good.
So they'll do periodic checks of their glove surfaces, looking for the loss of any of the grip or anything of that nature, just looking for nicks, cuts, things like that.
Let me know and I'll get you the PGT settings.
I'm just trying to make sure that safety tether goes across the front of me. Got it. There it is. Yep, got it.
Okay, copy, and we're locked back up on HECA.